Conservative radio host Mark Levin is going to stop trying to mask his dislike of minorities. Listen to his rant against ethno-thug Democrats.
But I also want to talk about what I will now coin as ethno-thugs. Ethno-thugs. Like Luis Gutierrez. He's an ethno-thug. Like Thomas Perez, the Secretary of Labor. He's an ethno-thug. They were speaking to the Congressional Hispanic Caucus. You know, the country is declining and the Republic is declining when we have all these ethnic caucuses or pigmentation caucuses. And there they are. I find that far more offensive than the name of the Redskins. When members of Congress break down into ethnic groups. The sad state of affairs, isn't it? So this ethno-thug, Luis Gutierrez, a Leninist, as I demonstrated about a month ago from his own resume. Originally in Puerto Rico and then in Chicago. Here he is, cut 10 at the Congressional Hispanic Caucus Conference yesterday. Hat tip, Breitbart, go.
Just imagine for a moment, the President of the United States makes an announcement. We figure out who the 5-6 million people are, right? We get ready to register them, and the Republican majority decides that they're going to obstruct that process. They will be the end of the Republican Party as a national party in the United States of America. Because then it won't be that the Democrats didn't act and that the Republicans didn't act. It will be the last act.
So there you go. A threat.
A threat? Okay, all of that was comically stupid. Where do you get threatened at? What he's saying is, if the Republicans decide to block the votes of Democrats, which, by the way, they're doing, it is a fact, then the GOP is done. They're done in the sense that they need to block votes to even try to have a chance of winning. That's the point he's making. Where do you get threat out of that? And what kind of a threat are you talking about? Threat of violence? I didn't hear anything even close to violence in there. But I know why he thinks that there's some sort of a threat in there. Because he's a minority and you know how they are. In his mind, he hears drive-by shooting or gangbanger in that comment there. Threat of violence. You know how these ethno-thugs are. Now, isn't it hilarious that when myself and others are going to point out very plainly that to use the term ethno-thug may be racist, what are they going to say? How dare you say that we're racist for using the term ethno-thug? No, you're right. That's a word that is not specifically for people who are not white. I mean, just the word thug alone. We went over this with the whole Richard Sherman thing. You guys remember that? How he made a great point, and I didn't even realize this until he brought it up, that the word thug is mostly reserved for certain people. Okay? I mean, there are some liberals and progressives. I know myself, I've used it for more than just minorities, but let's be honest. Most of the time it's used, it's from old white males, and it's against minorities. And the idea is it's a replacement for the N-word. Well, now it's become just attack all minorities and put the term ethno in front of it and say, well, what? I'm not singling out races at all. I'm just saying that he's an ethno-thug is what it is. An ethno-thug. And why is he an ethno-thug? Because he threatened us even though he didn't threaten us with that thing he said that wasn't threatening. But even the rest of it is, makes you crazy because he says he hints at the same argument that we spoke about last week when it comes to Donald Trump, because Trump made this argument, how there's a show Black-ish now. And he's like, how racist are they? Imagine we did a show called White-ish, there would be outrage. That's right, there would be outrage about White-ish, and there should be, and there shouldn't be outrage about Black-ish. That's right. Now, why is that? Because, I don't know, maybe white people have every other channel and every other show. Over 90% of the channels are white. Over 90% of the shows are white. And really, you don't think there's any white entertainment channel? Have you seen the country channels? The hunting channel, the fishing channel, the country music channel? Pretty sure they're all white. And also, do you not see that there's a fundamental difference between the history of both groups? How if you put brown pride, like there's a UFC fighter who has brown pride tattooed on him, if you put that, that doesn't symbolize superiority. It doesn't symbolize people marching down the center of a busy street with neo-Nazi flags. But if you put white pride, yes, that symbolizes skinheads, neo-Nazis, the KKK. That symbolizes a violent history. See, the bottom line is when you have power and control to separate and say white pride, that is racist because you're saying we're better than everybody else. But if you do it and you're a minority group and you don't have power, of course you're allowed to do it because historically it doesn't mean you're about to kill people. It just means you have pride for what you're doing. And furthermore, if you put Irish pride or Italian pride, that's fine, right? And they're white, but that's fine. Why is that fine? Because, again, they historically haven't had the power. It's a power and non-power thing, and it's a violence and non-violence thing. So this idea that, as Mark Levin says, why are we separating the minorities? Why are, isn't it a sad state in America when you have these minorities separating themselves? That's his way of saying, well, they can separate themselves. Why can't we separate ourselves? Why can't we have white nationalist movements? Why can't we be on our own? And why can't we say anything against them, but they could say things against us? Oh, see, that's what it's really about here. Okay? And he doesn't understand the difference between a white nationalist party and small groups that try to help for the civil liberties of minority groups, whether it's the NAACP, CARE for Muslims, and others. Okay? The National Hispanic Caucus or whatever they call it here. He's like, that's a terrible thing. And notice, with everything he's saying, it's clear that he's trying to hint that, well, you're just visiting. This is our place. This is the white people's place. But, you rabble, speak up every once in a while, you minorities, but you should know your place, okay? You're an ethno-thug. Don't threaten us. Don't use that tone, okay? You're a Leninist. Please, a Leninist. Again, this is right-wing talk radio 101. Just throw out any word that people in your audience don't even need to know what the fuck it is. Okay? They don't know Trotsky. They don't know Lenin. They don't know Saul Alinsky. But just say it. And they're like, oh, God, Lenin! Fucking Lenin again! Who's Lenin? Crickets. They got no fucking clue.